Dr. Dele Ashiru joins us now. He's a political scientist from the University of Lagos. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you very much.
Well, we're examining all possible solutions on this matter. We just need to add every voice possible to ensure that this is sorted out. And looking at this security situation we've got on our hands, we talked about it and we will keep talking about it and until who knows when. But you've heard a lot about this. I'm sure you're saddened by the attacks as well. What do you think is missing for you?
Well, thank you very much. As a political scientist, I think what is playing out at the moment in the country is failure of leadership occasioned by, the nature of the Nigerian politics. For example, there cannot be peace without justice.
Okay.
And whether you talk about militancy, you talk about agitation, you talk about terrorism, at the root of all of these is the question of justice. Injustice everywhere, state to the people.
Yeah, in fact, when you talked about failure of leadership, now that is so broad-based. Are you talking about local government leadership?
Political leadership at all levels.
At all levels?
At all levels. Local government, state, at the highest level of government.
What about military leadership? Does that include it?
Of course. I mean, the last speaker just told you how can you fight insurgency without a strategy? Only pockets of responses after the attack. That's not how to confront insurgency.
Can we say they don't have a strategy, or it doesn't seem as though the strategy is working? Two different things.
Well, if they do, we don't know about it at the moment. And to the extent that it's not working, one can safely conclude that, the strategy is not just there.
We don't expect them to publicize their strategy, do we?
Oh, yes, but even in the, we listen to Bade on your own, shifting blames, talking about the media, when you are supposed to confront issues as the chief of defense staff. Even the presidential advisor who spoke earlier in the morning is also just, passing the buck. The people, which people? The disillusioned people? The people who are, on a daily basis being challenged by the failure of governance at all levels.
What should we be doing?
Thank you very much. The first is we must address the question of justice. Look, Boko Haram didn't start as a terrorist organization. Indeed, like she rightly pointed out, the organization became a terrorist one after the killing of Mohammed Yusuf. Until as we speak, the military captured Mohammed Yusuf alive, handed him over to the police, if I'm correct, and between that space of 2 minutes, the guy was gone.
But just a moment, you talked about the group becoming terrorist after he died. At what point do we say a group is terrorist? Because some people believe that terrorism is an ideology. And if the moment you leave an ideology to fester, then it begins to grow. So at what point...
Terrorism, yes. An organization becomes terroristic when they begin to launch premeditated attacks on vulnerable people, children.
Not when they're propagating the idea.
Look, people are free to propagate whatever the idea they choose. But the right to stretch your hands ends at the tip of my nose. So if an organization professes terroristic inclination and all that, and they don't sponsor, they don't impact on the state negatively.
We can leave them to propagate this kind of ideas?
Of course, people have a right to propagate their ideas. The only thing is that the state, because all of us have surrendered our rights to a leviathan, in anticipation of some kind of protection. So there will be disparate groups in a society, terroristic, sectarian, religious, etc. But it is also the duty of the state. That's why we have surrendered our rights. That's why, from the Weberian perspective, the state is the only institution with the power that ought to have the power of coercion. So when an organization begins to challenge the state, like the Boko Haram is doing, then we must rethink even the constitution of the state.
You know, it got me thinking, what should we have been doing? Because there was a lull after a while when they were chased and bombarded, and we thought it was, a one battle until this resumed. So how would we have actually managed that interregnum before this started again?
Thank you very much. You see, when you are fighting a phenomenon like Boko Haram, you cannot, there is no retreat, no surrender. At that time, what I expected is for the intelligence organization, Department of Military Intelligence, State Security Service. Sometimes you even see these agencies speaking discordant tunes. The military will say one thing. In fact, there was a time that it was being rumored that, a guy was paraded twice by just changing his shirt. So we need to re-examine, some of these issues more critically. And I am saying that, look, those who were extrajudicially killed for whatever idea they profess deserves some form of justice. And you need to also increase, intelligence gathering. Some people have been named senators, governors. Ali Kunduga was arrested in a government lodge in Abuja. Biu, Zachary Biu, Bama was a dismissed soldier who was implicated in the Madala bombing and all that. Before he died, you can see how, there's some kind of unholy alliance between some characters within the Nigerian state. And like the special advisor mentioned, the president himself acknowledged the fact that, there are Boko Haram in the military book, but to what extent has the state been able to identify these individuals and deal decisively with them? The essence of sanction is to deter people. But when people do things and get away with it, they are emboldened to do more. Even this Boko Haram thing, you can see that they get emboldened by the day. They started by bombing police stations, military formations, churches. When all that didn't work, now they are killing innocent children. Only God knows what next.